Yes, it is.
You think you know Saving Private Ryan? These secrets will change the way you see Spielberg's brutal masterpiece forever. Fact 1. The D-Day Landing at Omaha Beach is one of cinema's most realistic battle scenes, but few know just how far Spielberg pushed everyone to get it right. He shot it on Ballinesker Beach in Ireland, not France. Over 1,500 extras, including real Irish Army Reserve soldiers, played the terrified GIs. Spielberg used handheld cameras to capture the chaos like a war photographer. He didn't storyboard every shot. He let the action unfold naturally. To keep the actors on edge, he gave no warning when explosions would go off. Real veterans were hired to consult and called it eerily accurate. The entire sequence cost $12 million, nearly 20% of the film's budget. Tom Hanks and the cast spent days soaking wet in cold surf under pouring rain. Many threw up or passed out from exhaustion. Squibs with real blood packs were attached directly to their uniforms. Spielberg even asked that some fake limbs be thrown into the surf for realism. The ocean's undertow became so strong it swept some props away. After filming, veterans who watched the scene at screenings reportedly suffered flashbacks. Spielberg insisted on no music during the landing, only screams, gunfire, and crashing waves. He wanted the audience to feel like they were there, not just watching. Many crew members still say it was the hardest thing they've ever shot. It redefined what a war movie could look like. It remains one of the most gut-wrenching scenes ever put on film, and it all started with Spielberg refusing to hold anything back. Fact 2. You'd think Spielberg would want a big name for Private Ryan, but he actually chose Matt Damon because nobody really knew him yet. Spielberg wanted Ryan to feel like an ordinary kid worth saving. He specifically asked for an actor with a real everyman face. At the time, Damon had shot Good Will Hunting, but it hadn't released yet. Nobody knew he'd win an Oscar for that film. When Saving Private Ryan came out, Damon's star had suddenly exploded. It worked perfectly. Audiences saw him as a fresh, innocent face. Spielberg said a more famous actor would have ruined the ending's impact. Damon didn't even have to audition. Spielberg cast him based on an early screening. He was told to keep his hair cut like a 1940s farm boy. To stay authentic, he lost weight during the shoot to look more fragile. On set, Damon bonded quickly with the squad, but Spielberg deliberately kept him away from the rest of the unit at boot camp. He wanted the other actors to resent Ryan a little, just like their characters. That tension plays out when Hanks' squad debates if saving Ryan is worth the risk. Damon later called it one of the smartest directorial choices ever. It made his awkward reunion with the squad feel real. Even today, people forget Damon was unknown when cast. His career exploded right after. Spielberg's gamble paid off in the most unexpected way. Sometimes the best casting is the face nobody recognizes.
Take cover, we're gonna blow this bridge! Ow! Come on!
Fact 3. Spielberg didn't want his actors to just play soldiers. He wanted them to feel like real brothers in arms. He sent them to an intense 10-day boot camp led by retired Marine Captain Dale Dye. Dye was famous for training actors for war films like Platoon. Each day, the cast woke up before dawn. They did push-ups, dug foxholes, and crawled through mud. They learned to march in formation and fire real blanks from vintage rifles. Captain Dye purposely made it miserable. He yelled at them constantly and deprived them of sleep. Tom Hanks, Tom Sizemore, and the others almost mutinied. They begged Spielberg to end the torture. Spielberg refused. He said they'd thank him later. The only actor who skipped boot camp was Matt Damon. Spielberg wanted the rest of the squad to resent him, mirroring the plot. That real frustration added tension on screen. When the men trudged through fields arguing about Ryan, that's partly real exhaustion. Captain Dye made them carry 40-pound packs everywhere. He banned cell phones, showers, and decent food. At night, they camped in the rain and dug trenches to sleep in. Most said it was worse than they imagined. But when cameras rolled, they moved and talked like real infantrymen. Spielberg called the boot camp one of his smartest ideas. It turned a group of actors into a believable squad.
What's his name again?
Ryan. James Ryan. He dropped in with 101st.
Go and give me a runner up here.
Runner!
Fact 4.
Hey, Fish.
Yeah.
Look at this, a Hitler Youth knife.
And now it's just about all the cutter, right?
Most people forget Vin Diesel is in Saving Private Ryan. He plays Private Caparzo, the young soldier who tries to save the little French girl. At the time, Diesel was completely unknown in Hollywood. He'd made a short film called Multifacial, about an actor struggling with racial typecasting. Spielberg saw the film at a festival and was blown away. He thought Diesel had raw, natural charisma. He called Diesel in for a meeting without an agent. Diesel couldn't believe it. He was broke and living with his mom. Spielberg gave him the role of Caparzo on the spot. Diesel used the paycheck to finish his next indie project, Strays. The role changed his life overnight. His heartbreaking death scene is still a fan favorite. Diesel credits Spielberg for jump-starting his career. Without Saving Private Ryan, there might never have been Pitch Black or Fast and Furious. Diesel said he learned more on that set than any acting class. He bonded with Tom Hanks, who gave him advice on handling fame. Years later, Diesel called Spielberg the godfather of his career. It shows Spielberg's eye for talent goes way beyond just big names. Sometimes all it takes is one short film to get noticed. And for Diesel, Caparzo was the door that opened everything. Fact 5. When Tom Hanks signed on, he didn't just want to play another heroic officer. He wanted Captain Miller to feel like an ordinary man in extraordinary circumstances. Spielberg agreed, but the studio pushed for a more typical war movie leader. Hanks refused to let Miller become larger than life. He based Miller partly on real high school teachers and baseball coaches. That's why Miller's backstory includes teaching English in Pennsylvania. Hanks asked for Miller to keep his Midwestern accent. He also insisted Miller should hesitate and show fear. One iconic moment, Miller's shaking hand, was Hanks's idea. Spielberg loved it and made sure it came back throughout the film. It symbolized the hidden toll the war was taking on him. Hanks did tons of research on World War II tactics to get the details right. He spent hours with veterans who'd fought in Normandy. One vet told him, "We were just kids trying not to die." That line stuck with Hanks for every scene. He refused to let Miller be a perfect hero. That realism made Miller feel like someone you'd actually know. Hanks has said it's one of his proudest roles ever. He even kept some of Miller's props as keepsakes. Decades later, vets still tell him he nailed it. Miller's humanity made him more heroic than any action pose could. It's proof that sometimes vulnerability is the bravest thing of all. Fact 6. When Saving Private Ryan first screened for World War II veterans, the reaction was intense. Spielberg invited real D-Day survivors to see the film early. Many praised the brutal honesty of the Omaha beach scenes, but some couldn't sit through it. They left the theater shaking or in tears, overwhelmed by memories. One veteran told reporters it was like being transported back to the sand. PTSD triggers were so strong that counselors were brought in for certain screenings. Tom Hanks later said that was the hardest feedback to process. He'd hoped the film would honor vets, not re-traumatize them. Spielberg felt torn too, but believed sugarcoating war would be worse. Some veterans who did stay thanked him for finally showing the truth. The Department of Veterans Affairs even used the film to discuss PTSD awareness. War historians praised its unflinching detail. They said it captured the randomness of survival and combat. Spielberg refused to add uplifting music to soften the violence. He wanted people to understand the true cost of war. Years later, vets still describe it as the most realistic World War II film ever made. It changed how Hollywood portrayed combat forever. No more bloodless, choreographed battle scenes. It showed the world that heroism doesn't come without horror. And for some, it felt like revisiting a nightmare, but a necessary one.
All my strength, hasty to help me.
Fact 7. Few know Saving Private Ryan inspired a real movement to honor World War II vets. In the late 90s, there was still no national memorial in Washington, D.C. Spielberg donated a portion of the film's profits to help build it. Tom Hanks also became a major spokesperson for the project. He recorded PSAs and met with politicians to push funding through. Many Americans didn't realize World War II vets had no central monument. Saving Private Ryan reignited public awareness of their sacrifice. Donations poured in after the film's release. The National World War II Memorial finally opened in 2004. Veterans from all over the country attended the dedication. Some carried posters and photos from the film. Hanks and Spielberg were honored at the event. Vets thanked them for making the world remember. The memorial now draws millions of visitors every year. It stands on the National Mall between the Lincoln Memorial and Washington Monument. Plaques at the site quote "real soldiers," echoing lines from the film. Survivors say the memorial never would have happened without that cinematic spark. A movie about fictional men led to a monument for real heroes. It proves films can shape history, not just depict it. Sometimes Hollywood can build more than just stories. It can build stone and memory too. Fact 8. John Williams is famous for his soaring, heroic music. But Spielberg didn't want any score during the combat scenes in Saving Private Ryan. He felt music would make the violence feel fake or too cinematic. Williams agreed. He focused instead on the moments before and after battles. When Captain Miller writes letters home, Williams's music gently underscores the grief. It's used sparingly, so the sound of bullets and explosions feels raw. The Omaha beach scene has no score at all, only the sounds of war. Sound designer Gary Rydstrom spent months layering real gunfire, metal pings and screams. He even used historical audio recordings from World War II for accuracy. Spielberg wanted the audience to feel disoriented, like a soldier would. When the music finally swells, it feels earned, not manipulative. Williams' theme for the end credits is heartbreakingly restrained. It's a tribute, not a victory march. Some studio executives thought audiences would hate the silence in battle scenes. Spielberg held his ground, insisting realism was more important than Hollywood rules. Veterans praised the choice, saying that's how it really felt. Terrifyingly quiet, then suddenly deafening. Williams won another Oscar nomination for the score, but he said the silences were what made the music powerful. Sometimes the best soundtrack is letting reality speak for itself. The result is one of the most emotionally haunting scores of his career. It shows music can say everything, even when it says nothing. Fact 9. Tom Sizemore gave a powerful performance as Sergeant Horvath, but behind the scenes his role was almost lost. Sizemore was battling a serious drug addiction at the time. Spielberg still wanted him because he was perfect for the part, but he made Sizemore agree to one strict rule: daily drug tests. If Sizemore failed even once, he'd be fired on the spot. They'd reshoot all his scenes with a new actor, no matter the cost. Sizemore later said it was terrifying but motivating. He stayed clean during the entire shoot. He credits Spielberg's tough love with helping him get sober. For a while. On set, Sizemore pushed through the punishing boot camp and battle scenes. He earned respect from the entire cast by sticking it out. Spielberg never had to threaten him again. The tension added an edge to Horvath's character. A man keeping it together under fire. Sizemore called it the role of his life. Years later, he admitted he relapsed, but still looks back on Saving Private Ryan with pride. Spielberg has never spoken ill of him, saying he did exactly what the role needed. It's a reminder that even a chaotic life can produce unforgettable work. And sometimes the hardest battles happen when the cameras aren't rolling. Fact 10. The final graveyard scene isn't a set. It's the actual Normandy American cemetery. Over 9,000 American soldiers are buried there. Spielberg insisted on filming on location for authenticity. Permission took months, as the site is sacred ground. Veterans' families were consulted before cameras rolled. The cast and crew kept complete silence between takes. Tom Hanks said he felt overwhelmed standing among so many real graves. They shot the older Ryan's emotional walk in just a few hours. Many extras in the background were actual veterans and their relatives. Spielberg refused to dress the cemetery with movie props. What you see are real headstones, perfectly aligned. The sea breeze and birds song were recorded live, not added later. John Williams wrote the final piece of music to echo a hymn, not a fanfare. Spielberg wanted audiences to remember these were real men, not just movie heroes. Some viewers visit Normandy because of that final shot. Families still bring flowers to those same graves every year. When Ryan asks his wife if he's been a good man, it hits harder in that real place. Spielberg has said that moment is the heart of the entire film, a simple question at a real gravesite that says more than any battle ever could. It's a reminder that Saving Private Ryan is fiction, but the sacrifice was real. Bonus fact. One thing that makes Saving Private Ryan so powerful is its final scene at the Normandy cemetery. But most people don't know that Spielberg kept the ending a secret from the cast for as long as possible. He wanted their reactions to feel raw and unrehearsed. When Tom Hanks and Matt Damon finally read the full pages, they were stunned by the quiet emotion. The older Private Ryan asking, "Have I been a good man?" hit the cast hard. Hanks said it reframed the entire film. It wasn't just about war, but how we live afterward. Spielberg filmed the graveyard scene near the end of the production schedule. By then, the cast was already bonded like a real unit. Seeing thousands of real white crosses made the goodbye feel painfully real. Damon said walking through the cemetery was one of the most humbling moments of his life. Spielberg also surprised them by filming multiple takes without telling them which he'd use. He wanted Ryan's final tears to feel genuine. The film crew and even extras grew silent on set. You can see the rawness in the older Ryan's shaking voice. Spielberg has said that single question, "Tell me I'm a good man," is the heart of the story. It's the true weight of sacrifice passed from one generation to the next. Many veterans told Hanks that moment spoke to how they felt about coming home. They wondered if they'd earned the lives they got to live. Spielberg later said he never wanted the film to feel like an action flick with a neat ending. He wanted that last shot to haunt people and remind them of the real cost. The cast called it the hardest scene to let go of. Sometimes the most powerful part of a war movie isn't the battle, it's the question you ask when it's all over.